understood it. Today we are here in the Science 6 chapter, that is going to be the second chapter from the class 6th. So before starting this chapter, we should have to know this title meaning. So I always say that you should have to know this title meaning, that you can understand what is the chapter inside is there. So sorting means, here sorting materials into groups. This is going to be the second chapter. Sorting, the meaning of sorting is dividing. So what dividing means? Materials means things. Okay, whatever it may be, the objects, things, materials, into what? Into groups. You should have to classify the materials into groups. This is going to be the second chapter. And in 2.1, objects around us. So let us pass this video for its little bit of time and observe your objects that you are present on your surroundings. So object that there is a chair is there, say that you have a chair, there is a mat and there is a door, there is a fan. So think of this and just observe it, okay? And let us play this video, and after this we have an activity 1. So here this is a small simple activity that you should have to do in your home. And what is this activity means? So do not read this entire thing because it is not necessary. So after this, here you can see the table 2.1. So what does the table 2.1 say? Thus, you should have to make a column of objects and materials they are made up. So here there are some objects are there, like plate, pen. You can also write fan, or you can also write door. Okay, so materials they are made up of means that plate is made up of which? Plate is maybe the plate made up of steel or glass or plastic. So you should have to know what are the materials that need to make the plate. After this we have a fan. We wrote the fan. So in this fan, so what is this fan is made up of? Like metal. Yes. See your above your roof and see this, there is a fan, and that fan is made up of metal. And door is made up of wood. These are the some examples that you should have to note in your notes. And after this we have an activity 2. So in this activity 2, what is there is in activity 2 we have that this is the reverse of table 2 activity 1, because the material, what are the objects that we made from different types of materials. You know that we have an example of wood. So in wood we can make chair, table, plough, bullock cart and its wheels and weather, etc, etc. So we can make all these things, correct? The carpenters also make the cupboards. We can also make cupboards here because of with the help of woods. So there is a leather is there. We can make bags by using the leathers. And plastics, we can use very different types of objects with the using of plastic. So there is a multiple examples are there for the objects that they are made of plastic and cotton. We can make cloths by using of cotton, and also we can make saris. Cotton saris are present, so we can make saris, cloths, etc, etc. So you should have to write down on your notes. And after this we have 2.2 is properties of materials. Properties means which have a definite character, that it is property of materials. So properties of materials that we are going to study this, the appearance, the lustrous, and the soluble or insoluble in nature. We are going to see all these things. So we have an experiment here in table 2.2. A figure was given that a girl is pouring a glass of water to a cloth tumbler. So we have to know what is mean by tumbler. Tumbler means it is just looking like a bottle, but it have a flat surface. Yes, the tumbler is generally used for the storing of water. Okay, so this is going to be a tumbler. So if you think that the tumbler may be made up of plastic, and it may be made up of glass, or it may be made up of clay, or it may be made up of copper, or it may be made up of metal, correct? But have you ever think that why the tumbler is not made up of paper or any cloth? So why? What is the reason behind? So here is the answer is what? Because the tumbler main purpose is storing of water, correct? You should have to store the water in it. If you prepare the tumbler with using paper or cloth, it will become sweat, correct? The water will comes out from the tumbler. So this is the reason that we cannot make this tumbler by using cloth or paper. Okay. And after this we have an activity 3. So activity 3 is here. So what is the activity 3 is shining property. So whether you have see this, so here is some examples are there. Collect small pieces of paper, cardboard, wood, copper, wire, aluminum sheet, chalk means chalk piece. So here take this all these pieces, take this all these materials from your surroundings and observe that it having any shining property. So if it is does not having a shining property, so it is not considered to be as metal. Okay, so separate the shiny materials into a groups. So what they are saying that make a column. Here you should have to make a table. Here you should have to take shiny objects and here in non-shiny. Okay, here shiny and non-shiny. And what should we have to do is we should have to classify the shiny objects under this column and classify the non-shiny objects and under this column. So they are saying that you should have to make some table. Okay, and after this, if you see that it is not shining, let it cut the material and see here when in the cutting piece it may be shining property is there. So make sure that it should be under shining column. Okay, after that, if it does not have any shining property, let's take sandpaper. It is just a it is also a it is also a sandpaper that is usually available in all stores. So you should have to rub the sandpaper on the surface of the material, so it will get the shining property. So because of this shining property, so metals have this shining property. Because of this shining property, the materials are classified into lustrous. Lustrous is a scientific word for shining. Okay, you should have to remember of this word. Okay, and hardness. So hardness means if you take a material and let it pinch it or let it make a force on it. So if you make a small force and it breaks down and it changes its shape, it means it is a soft material. Okay, here we have an example of soft material. So if you again doing this experiment, you have applied a big force on it, but it is not breaking or it is not changing its shape, and you are applying a lot force and you are applying a huge force, and after this force it going to be a compress. So what is here is which are difficult to compress are called hard materials. So which are difficult to decreases its size or changing its shape, this is generally called as hard materials. So this is over, and after this soluble and insoluble is there, and activity 4 is given. So what this activity 4 will be says, so here you can see this tumbler, and it is also a tumbler, and after there is a water is there, and after this, so you have observed we have poured some materials here. Yes, it is flowing on water and it is dissolved in water and spreading its particles into the water, means it is dissolving. Yes, it is in the process of dissolving. So what does the meaning of soluble means? If an object is dissolved in water, yes, this is generally considered to be a soluble material. If it is not dissolved in water, it is insoluble nature. For example, let's take an example of sand. So if you take some sand and pour into water, if it dissolved in water or not, it gets settled at the bottom of the water. So it got settled at the bottom of the water. It does not dissolve in water. It is generally considered to be insoluble in nature. So soluble in nature is mean, well, let us take some salt and mix it with water and stir it well. After you are stirring, then take it, put it 5 minutes without moving. So what you observed, the salt was disappeared. How it was gone means it have a soluble in nature. Okay, it have a solubility in nature. So after this, we have a table 2.3 that you should have to do in your practical experience at your home. We have salt, sugar, sand, chalk powder, sawdust. We should have to take all these substances and dissolve in water. Let us give the result on this table that it is disappears or appears in water. Okay. And after this, in activity 5. In activity 5, we have the the forces are mix well or that is floats on water. So we have in figure 2.4 that we can see this. In figure A and figure B is there. In figure A we have observed that we have dissolved some materials on it and it was mixed with very stirring. We have give a force of stirring and mix it well. What we observed is it dissolved in nature, but after this we have poured some substances. So if you have poured some substances and you see this, it is floating on the water. Yes, it is floating on the water means it does not mix it well. Okay, does not mix it with water or it is floating on water. And objects may float or sink in water. Yes, objects also may float or sink in water. Sinking means getting settled down of the water. So here the object is floating up of the water, and sinking means getting settled down. This is generally called as sinking. For example, you have seen this keys here that is settled under bottom of the water. This means it is sinked. Okay, you will see this leaf, this is light in weight. Because of this nature, this is floating on water. Okay, and we have the transparency. So have you ever seen in the shop that is like this? So you have seen these plastic boxes. So why they have put these boxes under this boxes only means the customer should have to see this, what is this and what is this and what is that. The customer should have to see what is there inside the box. Because of this reason we have the boxes like here in the shops. And we have a 3 examples here in figure 2.7. So we have, so a boy is there, an object is placed. So here 3 activities are there. So what is this means, an object is there, here is an object is there, here is an object is there, here is object is there. So what is means by opaque and translucent and transparent means, if you put an object in front of you that you cannot able to see the other side of the object, then the condition is called opaque, and the material is called opaque substance. Okay, after this is vice versa, and this is vice versa means that it is. So if you put an object in front of you, you cannot see that much of image on the other side of the object, and you are seeing the blur vision on the other side of object. This is generally called as transparent. So you have a crystal clear object will be appearing means it is translucent. Okay, it is translucent. Here are the 3 examples. So you can see this, the boy face is not appearing in this object. The boy face is blur in vision in object. So the boy face is crystal clear. We can see the every eyes, nose and mouth in this while seeing this from this object. So this material is called sorry guys, I got a reverse. So it is translucent, it is transparent. So here it is translucent and it is transparent. Okay, don't get confused now. And we are seeing the blur vision, we are seeing not any object is visible, and it is going to be a clear vision in transparent. Okay, that materials are called transparent materials. Okay, that's it. So after this is a small example that you will see this when you're when you have a torch at your home. So make sure that you should have to put your hand on the starch. See that it may be the transparent, it may comes under the transparent or translucent or opaque. So I thought that it may comes under translucent. Okay, we are not seeing the entire light now, so this is generally considered to be a translucent. These are some key words from this chapter. You should have to read and should have to know the meaning of these keywords, and you should have to read the summary of this chapter at your home. And this is going to be the end of this session, and thank you for watching this. Thank you.